Well, I first heard about Charlie Kirk getting shot by Elizabeth Lane, investigative journalist for Unified TV. We're really in lockdown when we're producing the show every single day. And so we were busy doing production, and Elizabeth actually texted and said, Charlie's been shot. And she's actually based in Salt Lake. So she was rushing herself to the hospital in order to get more details. And ended up getting to the hospital and was the person that informed us that Charlie Kirk had, in fact, been killed. Elizabeth Lane joins us now, investigative journalist with Unified TV. Elizabeth, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Kim.
And thank you for giving us the updates in real time yesterday. I'm sure that was extremely
Absolutely.
stressful. What was that like? I mean, when you tell us about when you got to the hospital, what
Well,
what was the scene like there?
first, I want to start with like, we're here right now. It's ironic that today is 9/11. 24 years after, we still have so many questions and things like that. And Charlie's assassination, and it was an assassination. Those are things that kind of make us not trust our government anymore, and not even hope that something will get figured out, and something will get solved. So to kind of take you back to that day, I was actually working on my show when I got a text message from my producer that Charlie's been shot, and it was like really seconds after the whole thing happened. So the first thing, of course, that I did was get into my car, and I know exactly where they were taking him because I know the area really well. I know where trauma hospitals are. There's not many around that area. So I showed up, and the first thing I see is like bunch of cops around, and the main entrance was closed. I'm texting a friend of mine who also gets like live updates from the hospital, and I'm sitting there, I'm asking a bunch of questions. Cops were not very informative in the beginning, but what they did confirm for me was that Charlie was at the hospital. So I knew that, okay, so I'm in the right place. I'm just gonna sit here and wait for the news. And very soon after, from different scenarios that unfolded there, and people were talking that he was on a life support and so on. And when I got there, I'm actually convinced that when I got there, they were trying to keep him on a life support. That's the information I got. But then very soon after, somewhere around 10 minutes, and I think I was texting you exactly the same time, I heard the news that he was dead, unfortunately. So the environment was absolutely horrifying because people were crying. There were people who probably followed the car to the hospital because I saw signs and people were praying for him. And somebody just came to me because I probably had like a face of a maniac because I didn't know like what was going on and how could this happen. And someone asked me if I would pray with them, but it's just so many things were going down that I was like, I excused myself to get more information, whether like they had the shooter or not. And this is where the cop approached. And I said like, hey guys, do you have any news for us? Like, do you have the shooter? And he said, well, someone's in custody. And this is when I actually texted you that someone was in custody. This person, unfortunately, got let go. And nowadays, like we know today that they have a picture of a person that they showed us a possible killer, but
Right.
honestly, Kim, like I think they are joking.
I mean, they have to keep showing us somebody, right? I mean, what else are they gonna do except they don't want I don't think they wanna look like total idiots and look like, "Wow, we just got completely, this guy was able to evade us completely," and so I think they're probably gonna continue showing us pictures or who knows? I mean, do you think this picture is even of a real person, or do you think it's, like, AI generated? Just to keep us
I
thinking
actually
they're
don't
working and
think
doing
they're
their job.
honestly, I don't even think that they are that stupid to put AI generated picture out there. I think they just randomly got some scrawny kid on a surveillance camera and they're saying, oh, hey, give us like, keep in mind, they are not saying this is the guy who shot Charlie. They're
Right.
saying, hey, give us some information if you know anything. That means we have no leads, absolutely nothing. And we are relying on people to maybe give us something. But I mean, keep in mind this chronic kid, like really like high powered rifle, is a person who actually knows what it's like to hold a high powered rifle and how heavy it can be. This chronic kid did all of that without getting caught and then ran from the roof. Like,
Mhm.
it just makes no sense to me. And the whole thing, I mean, the security aspect of things also makes no sense to me. These were like what was that, like 3,000 people at the
Yeah,
event,
yeah.
and not even one EMT. Like, okay, so let's break this down, right? So Utah state law mandates that when you have events like that, at least one EMT should be present.
Right.
They had to drag him to the SUV themselves.
Yeah.
Like, this is unbelievable. Like,
I was wondering about that. Was there no were there who got him to the hospital? Because we have the video of
his
him being
own
dragged out.
personnel.
So
His
he
own
got into the
personnel.
SUV and then they actually drove in that SUV to the hospital with him.
Exactly. That's exactly what
Wow.
happened. So there were 8 people, to my information, there were 8 people, that those are Charlie's personal
Yeah.
unit that guards him. And those were the people who grabbed him. There's actually a video of them dragging Charlie out of the event and like literally putting him in the SUV.
Yeah.
And what's crazy about this is that, they lost precious time. Even if it was a fatal, wound, and even if he had no chance, at least they could have kept him, somewhat alive, until the family got to say their goodbye or something, right? But that made everything impossible. Their actions, like when they grabbed him and put him in an SUV, like how are you going to help him in an SUV on the back seat with 8 other people in it? It's unbelievable. And there's
Right.
actually a photo of them doing that. So yeah, security aspect of things were not present. I would understand that Charlie didn't think that he was under danger. I mean, Charlie's much like Tucker Carlson doesn't have like a super high end security with him when he goes out, on different tours and speeches. I understand he didn't think that this would happen, but this was supposed to be taken care of by Utah State. When you have these we know what happens with mass shootings. The least you can do is have more than 6 policemen on the ground with 3,000 people. And to
Yeah.
my information, there was only 6 policemen, active duty cops.
Wow.
This is crazy.
Yeah, I thought for sure they had an EMT at that event. I mean, I would think a college campus, a lot of
Right.
thousands of people, that they would absolutely have EMTs present at the event. And I was hoping, I mean, seeing the video up close, it was obvious that he was probably not going to make it. But
Right.
the chances, it's very slim to survive a shot like that, but the
Right.
chances are increased if you happen to be at an event like that and there happens to be EMT working
Right.
the event right there. They potentially could have gotten to him and stopped the bleeding and I mean, certainly what are guys in an SUV with no medical equipment going to do to help
Right.
him while it takes, the what was it, Utah Valley State, what was the college? Utah, what's the name of the university again?
It was Utah
Val
Valley University.
Utah Valley University, and then Utah Valley Hospital, I
So,
believe, is like
yes, it was
15,
actually,
15.
it was Timpanogos. It's the same area. Like, it was Timpanogos Hospital, and they drove from Orem. So the Utah Valley University is in Orem.
So how long would it take to get to the hospital?
Honestly, probably in that traffic, maybe 20 minutes.
I mean, and these guys have no medical equipment, and he's
No,
got I
0.
mean, there's no way
And
to
if you watch the footage, Kim, like, your heart will break. I mean, how they are dragging
No, we have
Charlie
the we showed
Scott,
it of
and
him
yeah,
being
it's
dragged out
yeah,
because we needed to show that Charlie wasn't wearing there were some theories out there that he was
no,
wearing a bulletproof vest,
no,
and when you watch that video, it's clear he wasn't wearing a bulletproof vest. He was, because you could see his skin underneath the shirt,
right,
when they were dragging him to the SUV. But I mean, just
right,
terrible, terrible situation. Were there a lot of I would imagine a lot of mainstream news wasn't at this event covering the event to begin with,
no.
so there probably wasn't a lot at the hospital besides,
You
I would
know, I
imagine
was very
Deseret News and
surprised.
Salt Lake City.
Yeah, I was
Go
very
ahead.
surprised when I got there. There were a lot of cops for sure, and the security of the hospital itself was super alert because they stopped me right at the entrance, and I told them I'm a journalist. I'm here for Charlie, la la la, and they just told me to, hey, journalists are standing right there. That's your spot. Go there. We'll have a conference. We'll tell you what's happening. But then after like good 45 minutes of wait, maybe even more, all of a sudden the staff from the hospital came out and told us that there would be no conference and they would tell us nothing and they knew nothing, which was very strange to me because you can't just tell press one thing and then all of a sudden kind of pretend that it never happened and tell us that they have no information at all. What's surprising is this happened when President Trump kind of posted on Truth Social that Charlie was dead. Like afterwards, something changed in the environment because I could feel that everybody got very careful about what they were going to say next.
Mhm.
And that was very apparent on spot.
Who do you think killed him? I mean, I'm asking you to speculate, but yeah.
You know, I have two theories, and many people are not going to like me right now, but here's the thing. They didn't kill Charlie because Charlie was after some transgender movement or asking tough questions. They killed Charlie because Charlie was effective. And young people wanted to hear him. They were follow he had a huge following, and he was a Trump guy, right? He without him Trump didn't have a chance with our generation, like younger generation.
Mhm.
So I think that the only like people and country that benefits out of this is probably Israel. And I'm not blaming Israel for this. I'm not saying that, oh my gosh, Israelis did it or anything, but let's be real. Charlie Kirk was the biggest defender they had. Like when it gets to his age people and the figures that are super influential with 24-year-olds, right?
Right.
And also with the red states. And all of a sudden, Charlie's kind of narrative changed. You probably know this. He started talking about how they called him anti-Semite, and he even said to Megyn Kelly, "Hey, so we are the biggest defenders of these guys, and if they are coming after us, like they will regret this because they're gonna lose the biggest defenders and biggest supporters they have." He started asking hard questions. He started prioritizing the United States. He said that the US should be first, and he questioned the aid to Israel, and all of a sudden he's dead with a sniper on top.
Yeah, that
Right.
got away.
Right. I mean, if
Yeah.
anything, I think that people, we will see big media right now narrative going out as, oh my gosh, like, they are killing defenders of Israel. This is anti-Semitism. I think that's the narrative they will try to go with. And at the same time, they are kind of trying to put Israel in this victim mentality, victim role out there that everybody who defends Israel will get killed because there's vicious animals on the other
Yeah.
side. That would be one. And I heard an interesting narrative in a foreign media outlet today, which to me makes no sense, but you might want to hear it. So one of the foreign media outlets actually speculated that it was an inside job with Trump administration to somehow cover up the mishaps with Epstein situation,
Right.
and they were losing people and people's support, so they needed like a dramatic event, some kind of sacramental lamb to bring people back to support President Trump and all of that. I don't believe that Trump would ever do anything like this or authorize anything like this at all, but I could believe that some elements in the administration may be capable of doing that, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
I
like
would
to
like
believe
to believe.
my naivety, I guess, that the United States, I know the history. I know the CIA, exists. I get it. But I still, in my naivety, would like to believe that the US would never do something like this. And that this would
You
have
mean
to
like
be.
they didn't do it to President Kennedy?
I know, well, there's right, right, exactly. That's why, it's it's still just hard to it's kind of like it's easier to think, well, that was a different era, a different
Right,
time, but now they would never do something like that. The CIA is just not filled with the same sorts of people as it was back then. You just kind of you try to make sense of things, and it
right.
makes more sense that a foreign actor would do something like this, and maybe the US government would get us, like a sniff that this was happening, but then kind of say, well, I doubt it, or turn a
Right.
blind eye or whatever. But it,
So when you say foreign, what do you mean with
oh, like
foreign?
Israel or Ukraine, that one of the theories is Ukraine, but I don't buy the Ukraine one as much just because people have been talking. I mean,
Right,
Charlie hasn't changed on Ukraine in years, and he's been
right,
talking the same way about Russia, Ukraine for years. So there's no danger in uh in his stance on Russia, Ukraine. But I'm with you. I mean, I think Israel's the more likely. I mean, if we're going to be looking at I know they're trying to paint this as some
Right.
some trans activist type person, but
Right.
that seems a little bit too, to have the inscriptions on the gun. I mean, give me a break. It's like, oh, it's kind of like, sure, and Epstein killed himself, right? I
Right.
mean,
That,
like a little bit too planted, too perfect. And now, and it benefits Israel. They are losing the narrative war. They understand this, and it benefits them to reel the United States into a civil war, which this is, now people are really inflamed even more than they've been. And I mean, I worry in my own town of Boise, Idaho, there was violence last night that broke out. I mean, Boiseans aren't like violent people. We just don't have this type of thing. And yet we saw violence at the Capitol building last night because of this. And, people it's kind of reeling us into that. And that would be certainly a great distraction for Israel if we were focused on each other. And then the United States government just keeps writing checks and sending weapons, right? And lets them do whatever they want to do. I certainly think they have the most to benefit out of this with, in Charlie changing his narrative suddenly, or not changing his narrative, but just becoming more dangerous to them. Somebody who'd been,
absolutely.
like you said, staunchly pro-Israel suddenly kind of saying, well, wait a minute. And also Epstein looks like he was Mossad. And hey,
Right.
wait a minute, we, why can't we question Israel, and having people on his platform and asking questions. And, certainly I think they felt like if we lose Charlie Kirk, we're really dead in the water. And so the only option is to make
Absolutely.
him dead in the water. I mean, that's
Right.
kind of what I
And I told a friend of mine, I think Charlie was worth dead more for them than alive, because they were, like you said, they were super scared that they were losing one of the most brightest figures out there. And what are they left with Ben Shapiro? Like,
right.
it's not even comparable, right? Like, it's very sad that we are talking about this, but it's, to me, it's the closest to the truth, because we know that Israel intelligence does stuff like that. It's not that we are coming up with these theories out of nowhere. Like, it's according to
It's
the
not like
history.
they've never killed a journalist before, right?
Right. Exactly. Absolutely ridiculous. And to be honest, like, this narrative that a transgender did it. I mean, let's be real. Like, we are two adult people here that have been through life and know a little bit more, because we've been in this industry for a very long time. Do you think that a state like Utah, where you have, like, it's the reddest state, well, not the reddest
Right.
state, but it's a very red state, and they have a lot of people who are fans of Charlie Kirk and so on. Do you think that this person, like a transgender person, would be capable, somebody who wants to be a woman and dresses in high heels, would be capable to somehow secure a higher powered rifle, go up there like a
Well,
pro, and
yeah.
then take a shot like a pro, right in the throat, when he knows exactly where to hit it, not even a head. Like, this is a pro, this is a job done by a pro, right? And if we talk about this kind of stuff, then who could that pro be, right? A former military? Okay, so former military. Why would former military be against Charlie Kirk? This is his audience. Former military
Right.
people are Charlie's audience, right? Why?
Yeah,
It
well,
makes
and not only that, but in a state like Utah, like you said, red state, what are the chances a transgender individual is even trained at the level to be able to pull something like this off? Not even just operate this rifle, um,
right,
to be this skilled. This was obviously a skilled. Now, some people are out there saying, "Well, but it's not that hard to make this shot." Sure, you're at a firing range. You're calm, cool, collected, not in the middle of a situation with high adrenaline.
right,
Anybody could spot you at any time. Then you have to get away. And if it was an activist, why not shoot into the crowd and kill more people? I mean, that's the
yeah,
MO. The MO would be to go in guns a-blazing and shoot as many people as you possibly could, not just one and done and run away. I mean, it's just not what they would. And then leave inscriptions on your gun. Like, and that was just too
mhm,
telling, because it's like, well, that's what the last one did. And it's like,
right,
okay. So even more reason for us to think this is a bit suspicious, that it's probably not a
absolutely,
trans activist. It doesn't fit the MO in any way, shape, or form. So, where do you think this is going to leave us, though, as a country? I mean, I don't think they're going to find the guy. Or if they do, they find a patsy that they kind of pin it on. Somebody who's probably mentally ill, and they're going to try to, or somebody who's dead suddenly, right? Oh, they killed themselves. We found them, but they killed themselves. So we can't ask them
absolutely.
any questions, right? Um,
Yep. And I
So
think we're going to see exactly the same thing we saw with the Crook's situation, right? Like, we either going to be faced with somebody who's mentally ill, like CIA loves to do this stuff, right? Like, whether it's NSA or CIA. That's another thing I wanted to mention, guys. We are in Utah. And this is NSA's ballpark. This is NSA's playground, right? And we know that NSA typically hires former SEALs, like from SEAL Team 6 or Delta Force or so on, to carry out special operations for them. NSA does that. It's not just CIA. Like, CIA gets all this mud and all this, excuse my language, crap when it gets to this type of assassinations. But keep in mind, NSA is very much capable of doing all of this. And we are in Utah. How easy would that be for NSA? Very, very easy.
I just wonder what the ramifications are going to be of this now. And you and I have talked about this a little bit off air about how this is going to be used to weaponize against us, the
Absolutely.
people. And they're going to use it. I mean, they already are with oh, it was a trans crazy leftist. And now you've got, interestingly, all of these conservatives who voted for Donald Trump under the pretense of we don't want to be censored. The left is trying to censor us. The left is coming after us. They're thinking we're all terrorists. And that same group of people today is now saying the left is a bunch of terrorists. We have to censor them. We have to dismantle them. We have to lock them all up. We have to dismantle every single trans organization and lock them up, like the way liberals were talking about J6ers. I mean, it's just
Exactly.
that part of
Yeah.
it.
The thing is, like, of course, they are going to do what they do always, which is take this situation, manipulate it to divide people in America. And while we are at each other's throat, fighting, whether it's left or right or whatever, they will slowly carry out their agenda and come up with another excuse why they couldn't find a killer, or they found him and, like you said, he just had a gunshot in the wound, gunshot wound in the head, and all of a sudden took his own life or something like that. But yeah, this will be out there. And I've noticed something very interesting in Utah. I don't know if you get this ads in Idaho, but lately I've been noticing that you probably remember Sandy Hook situation and
Yeah.
parents of Sandy Hook. So I don't know who did this, but I'm getting ads where Sandy Hook parents are telling people to maybe do something about gun violence. And of course,
Yeah.
they're going to bring up this story that, look at that, gun violence is so prominent on both sides. Like, it's the guns that are the problem. Let's disarm ourselves. And we're going to hear the same narrative again and again and again. This is my thought, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I've been seeing that as well with a lot of liberal lawmakers coming
Right.
out using this as well, see, it happens to you and look what happened. And so therefore, you should probably give up your guns. I
Right.
mean, if anything, I'm thinking, no, we need to arm up even more. I mean, that's,
Exactly.
a lot of us are feeling that way right now, especially after this. And the worst part about it, I woke up yesterday morning thinking to myself, what are the chances, because people in our line of work get harassed, we get threats, stalkers, all kinds of things happen all the time. And I just woke up yesterday morning thinking, okay, so there's some things happening right now, but what are the chances I'm going to be hurt? I not, and then I literally had the thought, I don't think any of us have ever been hurt. So it's just people wanting to scare, people wanting to do things. And then later that day, Charlie gets shot and killed, and it's very frightening, and it's just like what's gone on with all the journalists being killed in Gaza. It's meant to silence. It's meant to make an example out of you. Shut up. And whether it be the trans activist or the pro-Israel fanatic or even a state op, right? The goal is the same no matter what, which is to silence people. And I guess
Absolutely, and
it's
there was a message. Do you think if someone wanted to kill Charlie Kirk, they couldn't have poisoned him or done this silently? No, this
right.
was a message. This was a message to you, me, and everyone else who's, thinking about maybe talking about the truth or changing their minds like Charlie did, that this is going to be your end. And that was a message. And you know what? We heard it loud and clear. We're just not going to do anything other than fight. That's my answer to that. And I'll tell you something that I never told anybody. A friend of mine who's a former CIA officer, I had a situation where I did this interview, and the deep state kind of came after me. I entered the country and they stopped me, and the whole thing, culture raid, happened. But I asked my friend who used to be an officer, high ranking officer at the CIA, and I said, I'm no Tucker Carlson. Like, what do you think your agency wants from me? Like, what is going on? You know what his answer was? You're young, you're smart, you're effective. That means you're dangerous. We are at this point in this country that smart young people who are educated are dangerous. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That's where we
Well,
are.
stay safe, Elizabeth. Elizabeth Lane, independent journalist on Unified TV. We do have the link to Unified TV down below, as well as the X handle where people can follow you, Elizabeth. We've got that down
Thank
there
you
as
so much,
well.
Kim.
So follow
You have
Elizabeth,
a great
watch her
day.
show on Unified. And thank you, Elizabeth, for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you for watching this clip from the full Kim Iverson show, which you can catch Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern at KimIversonShow.com. It is free for you to watch. Again, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, KimIversonShow.com. See you there.